Good morning from sacred space at Titania's realm. It's another sunny day, but it's quite cold today. It was unusually warm yesterday, so it's currently 19 degrees, which isn't too shabby, but yesterday we got to 26, which was a bit odd, and especially now it's winter. But we move through each day as it comes with grace and aplomb and mystery and magic. Did I tell you what time it was? 11:30 on the 5th of July 2026. And before I begin reading the last chapter of I, Robot, I want to show you he still needs his face and his hair and his hair, his face and his hair, and I'm going to make him a crown out of copper. I've got some copper sheet here. I'm hoping there'll be enough length in it to go around his head. If not, I'll have to cut up a copper pipe I've got, which will be a lot thicker and heavier, but I'll work it out. People of Earth. It'll be a lot of work making him a copper crown, because I'm going to try. I'll have to get some brass sheet. Maybe AJS might sell some, and in brass I'll make a 7-pointed star, which represents the fairy realm, and I'll sit at the front of his crown because, you know, he's Oberon, he's king of the forest fairy. Anyway, this is the little jacket I made for him out of fur that I had hand spun and blended with alpaca. The alpaca had little bits of, can't quite see it in the glare of the sun, little pinky bits that had been dyed by my friend Danny Sloan, who actually gave me all these lovely fleeces. It's quite some years ago now. So they finally have been turned into something, and I think she'll be pleased to see that I actually manifested something from all that lovely fleece she gave me. So you can see the pinky bits more on there, and anyway, I'm so thrilled like a child. Can you tell? It's lovely. So I knitted up the fleece I made, and it's because it's much thicker. It ended up being a bit too big for what the original pattern should come out like. So I'm just going to move the jacket over a bit, and I'm thinking I've got all these zany ideas to upgrade and make them even more exciting. So I've got lovely butterfly buttons that I actually bought for my woolen jacket. So I'm thinking of it'll be a press stud on the back, but sewing on the front a butterfly button. I just worry that I'm making him look a little bit too feminine and flamboyant, because, you know, he's a boy fairy. But who doesn't love a bit of flamboyance even in a man? So I don't mind if he gets a bit zany looking. I've already pierced his ear with an earring. His ears are already ready. I worry that I might have moved them a bit too far back, but no, it sort of looks okay. And I don't know why that ear keeps curling over, but the ears turned out quite well actually. Happy with them. And these are the boots I made. In the original pattern she made them in a dark brown, and then the leggings in like a tan colour, but I'm just using all the things that I've handmade. So the boots are made, they're quite fluffy, and you can see the long fibres. They're from my dog who passed away on 1st of August 2023, which I'm still not quite over, quite frankly. The loss of all my pets, but particularly his loss was horrific. So I made it out of his fur. So it's cute because if you look close, you can see little tiny bits of brown and For some reason it came out looking quite grey in parts, although he didn't really have grey fur. He was black and white dog with patches of brown. So it's kind of interesting how the coloration came out, and then we have all the bits of fluffy long fibres that are actually his dog hair. So it's all clean and washed and, you know, carded and spun and perfectly fine, people of earth. So then I decided, when I make his crown, it got a bit mad. I ran with it last night. I'm so happy with him though. Oh, that's his body. That's also made from fleece that I hand spun, sheep fleece, and yes, the head too. So I'm very proud of myself. Very proud of myself. So I had another little mad idea last night. I'm not sure if I can cast it in sterling silver, how I'll go about it, because it's tiny. But it's a tooth that was from my baby daughter, my first baby daughter, Crystal. And I don't know how it fragmented. Like, I've even got the number on the tooth, what number tooth it was, 18. But it somehow got fragmented. Probably somebody, probably my daughter, shaking it up and down, or I don't know how it got fractured, because I remember it being in there in one piece. But look, it's so tiny, this tiny piece of my daughter's tooth. So I'm going to try, if it doesn't crush even further, to glue the fragment bit. I'm gluing up teeth. I glued my broken one up too. And so I'm going to try and glue the two little fragmented pieces together so it looks like one tooth. It's quite sharp actually for a little baby tooth. And I'm going to try and cast it in Delft clay. And then the little cast sterling silver version, I'm thinking about soldering somehow onto his crown so that he's wearing her little tooth. Well, a replica of her little tooth. Here's a staple she had from when she had a head injury. There's a little girl crawled into some brickwork. I just dropped it. We don't need to keep that, do we? There used to be 3, now there's only 1. So someone's been tampering with these things over the years, and will probably be one of my kids' curiosity looking at it. It is theirs. It is actually their property when you think about it. Like, the tooth literally came out of her head. I don't think she wants it though. I don't think she'll mind if I turn it into art. Why not? Waste not, what not, people of earth. Where's that head staple gone? That was a very traumatic day actually. She bled so much. I was so terrified she might die. I'm still traumatised by it to this day. Happened at a friend's place, went to visit them, and, you know, she's playing with the other children. I was out of the room with the adults because the children were older children. But I don't know how. Something's not right about that story, but I'll never get the whole truth, will I? But apparently, according to their version of the story, she crawled into their brickwork and split her head open. It might be true, but, you know, stupid things do happen. But anyway, she bled, and my stupid husband wouldn't call an ambulance because he's a fucking moron and a control freak, and decided to drive us there, and of course erratic driving, me hysterical, a crying 3-year-old. How old was she? She wasn't 3, she was 4.5. Happened on the 12th of May 1990. Anyway, crying, you know, young child, still just barely out of toddlerhood, me hysterical, racing to the hospital at Redlands, thinking she was going to bloody bleed to death on me, and him just being, let's be fair, he was distressed too, I suppose, but why wouldn't he call an ambulance? It was just odd. Anyway, I remember still remember clear as day, arriving at Redlands Hospital with her in my arms, and she was getting very heavy and I was having trouble holding her, and hysterical and not actually wanting to let her go, quite frankly. So I don't trust hospitals. I learnt to mistrust hospitals even as a young child when I had my own serious accidents and near deaths and horoscopes. So a female paramedic came running towards me and pulled her out of my arms and told me to stop being so hysterical. Like, what a nerve. Like, it's my child here. My child. Anyway, look, she just got some staples in her head and she was actually okay after all that absolute trauma and horror. So the staple I just dropped on the floor. Everything falls on the floor here under my desk. It's irritating beyond belief. Being a jeweller now, it's loose gemstones and bits of silver. Anyway, so what was I saying? Yes, I'm going to make him a crown out of copper because I made the crown for my Titania fairy toy from, a leftover chandelier I had from my mother that I could never afford to get put up by an electrician. And in the end, I got sick of it lying around. It laid on my floor for, 10 when did I cut that? During COVID years, actually. So it had lain on my floor for about 10 years, and I thought, it's doing nothing, just taking up space uselessly. So I cut it up. I kept that little crown part, which was one of the parts of the chandelier, and the rest of it I put out in the garden. The sun catches. It's still out there actually to this day. It's lasted well. Surprised it hasn't gone all rusty and manky. So anyway, the smaller component became Titania's crown. And I thought, well, I don't have any components from chandeliers left. What am I going to do? So I'll have to make him a crown from scratch. And it has to be an opulent crown because I can't afford to put jewels into it, and you wouldn't bother putting jewels into copper anyway. Maybe a nice cabochon might be nice, though. I could do that. Tempting. So anyway, I've got all these exciting ideas, and then somehow I'm going to try to cast that tiny baby tooth and add the sterling silver replicas somehow onto that fairy, since he's made up of all memento. I mean, my daughter's not dead. Don't wish her dead, don't get me wrong. But she's out of my life now for 3 years, so almost 3 years. So it'll just be made up of all these little mementos of what I have left of people I love or loved or used to love me. Sad, isn't it? It's a bit fucking pathetic, quite frankly. But, I don't have any negative attachments with the fur from the animals because they loved unconditionally. And when that little tooth was in my baby's head, she loved unconditionally too. So happy. It'll be a memory fairy. And when he's finished, which will probably be in the next few days, the way I've been going, I worked on him all day. I worked on these boots all night, and then I did his legs. I worked on him till 2 in the morning, and then I was like, right, I'm exhausted now. Oh. But, I've been looking at Queen Titania. She has a friend I made, I call her Lilith. But I thought Titania must have her man. She must have her king, people of Earth. Lilith doesn't care. Lilith's just like, yay, freedom. There's a reason for that biblically. You have to laugh. But I decided Queen Titania must have Oberon because that's part of the story. They were together, Oberon and Titania. So, and I've got to make him his pants. He's got to have a pair of pants. I've got these exciting sort of purpley colour wool, but then again, he might look too feminine. In the pattern, his pants are kind of a variegated green and his hair's bright green, so I might stick to that just let them have green pants and green hair. But I liked the little colour purple I had. I'll go and get it and show it to you. Hello, little beautiful boys. So if you haven't been to this channel before and seen all the quirky things I'm doing and making and living my best life, this is Queen Titania. I made her some years ago. I even made her little necklace, and she's got a little hedgehog toy that I got actually in IKEA or however they pronounce it, and I made her really masses of zany great hair, and in the pattern she's got tiny little wings, which you don't really see because of her amazing hair. But anyway, maybe if I pull it out the way, it's all a bit funny, isn't it? But that was the little crown that I had from, and it made a perfect little crown. It's a pity I haven't got more of them actually, because then they could have had matching crowns. But I'm happy with that. And it's actual brass because it's from my former mother's former chandelier. So she's got bright green eyes, and you know, they're a lot of work. And I made quite a few for people, and some of the people I made them from didn't even appreciate them when I gave them, because each one is individually, you know, it's unique, it's different. They would just go, huh. So I thought, well, fuck you, you're not my friend. Fucked them off. Right, this is the kind of a mauve that I thought I would make his pants from, but there isn't a lot of it. I don't think there's enough to make a pair of pants for him, but it would have looked okay, especially, you know, opposite Queen Titania, a matching sort of colour palette. So I'm thinking about that, or whether to go, you know, a whole different colour for his pants, but I don't know. I'm tempted to somehow incorporate this. Right, I'll go in quickly and put those away, people of Earth, so they're not in my way when I read you the story. I'm quite tired because I've been up all night creating. Just quickly before I settle down to read you the story, this is Lilith, and I made her a pair of earrings, and I made her a bit more exciting with a, you know, a collar, what do you call that? Anyway, kind of a collar, and I put little butterflies with lovely feathers from my bird. There's the other one. It's all got a bit twisted. Little chicken feather and little, don't know where I got that little red feather from. Probably bought. And this is a lovely feather that one of the birds out in the wild gifted me. So all these things have got little components from nature that have been added to the fairies. And she's got this lovely little skirt that I made with, oh, some of her marabou feathers are missing. Right, I'll have to do something about that. With marabou feathers, and she's purple, and she's meant to look witchy and alternative, but I took her, to see if anyone would make any orders or see if she would sell at the markets up at Kuroi. And the people there were all fundamentalist Christians, and I think they must have been. They were all very rude and weird. Never have I seen such bad behaviour before in all my life. Put me off ever going back to that place. Certainly won't go back and have markets there. And they would come up and they would hiss at her and go, she's a demon, she's a demon. Well, she's kind of made, to look a bit like a bat. She's meant to be, but, the dark side of the fae. But not necessarily a demon. I mean, Lilith is classed as a demon by, in the Judeo-Christian tradition, but Lilith was the world's first feminist who said, I'm not going to be subservient to some man that doesn't even treat me very nice. Like, to hell, literally to hell with all that. I've got to actually get thicker wire and redo her wings because they flop down. I don't like that they're floppy. So I need to improve on her wings, people of Earth. They need to be stiff and happening in a far out way so that she's in full glory. And what I'm also going to do, I've decided, it's very childlike and mischievous of me, but sweet. I love her little earrings I made. I put so much thought into them, and then people hissed at her and went, it's evil, it's evil, it's evil. No, they were evil and inappropriate and unkind and inhospitable. And there was only one family that came that were kind in that whole event that we were there, who were also a bit alternative and actually really admired the fairy and was really respectful and kind to me. One family. For the sake of one righteous man, Sodom and Gomorrah could have been saved. Remember that, people of Earth. I sat there with my friend Jared, who was very unwell that day, and I just said, here's our people, at last. I had been sitting there praying just for one kind person the whole day. It was a Christmas event too. It was a hellscape worse than any demonic imp I might knit together, which I don't put any negative energy into them apart from my own stress of wanting to achieve things and make things beautiful, which isn't negative, it's wanting to produce the best possible outcome I can produce, people of Earth. So anyway, it was all very upsetting that day, and then this lovely family arrived, and as soon as I saw them, I turned to Jared, I said, here's our people. I said, not only will they be kind to us, I think they will buy something from us too. And they did, and they were lovely. Pity I didn't get their names. But you out there in Kuroi, lady, I have not forgotten your kindness towards me. It meant the world given the high stress situation Jared and I found ourselves in, with the people being rude and obnoxious, him having some funny turn which turned out to be, a diabetic funny turn, which he wasn't diagnosed as diabetes yet, and me not feeling particularly well because the night before I'd had an ultrasound which had at the Green Slopes private hospital, and I don't know why, but every time I have ultrasounds on my bladder and they make me drink copious amounts of water, it just, my whole system just evacuates everything. So I had been dastardly ill the night before. Frankly, well, we didn't know that Jared was going to come down with that weird funny turn as well. But frankly, we shouldn't have gone. It was a scathing hot day that day. It was about 38, 40 degrees. We all struggled that day. It's quite funny because Jared, the last time we spoke, said he still gets invites from the people in the markets there at Kuroi to bring our stalls. So whoever was in charge of it must have been impressed with us. I don't know. We didn't speak to anyone in charge, but they keep inviting us, but I won't go back. The Christian element there, they were more demonic than demons, and I've dealt with demons all my life. in my own family of origin, quite frankly, and you know, murderous Israeli lovers, and you know, false, slanderous, vicious people from within my own Jewish community, and also vicious people that I met out in the non-Jewish community, the secular world. I've dealt with them all. So if I say I think someone's behaved like a fucking demon, sit up and take notice, because I'm talking from a vast experience and lived experience and trauma processing. So anyway, it was a very strange day that day. But yeah, I'm gonna get her wings stronger. I'll leave her sitting here to remind me. She's needs work. She needs more work done. She needs improving, people of Earth. And oh yes, that's what I wanted to tell you. I had this idea, I don't know if you can still get it, but you used to be able to buy this kind of a elasticated stretchy string that could go back to pull down lamps over your table, over your dining table. You could pull it down and push it back up. I don't know what the word for that is, but anyway, I've got to try and see if I can still buy them, because I want to attach it to my fairies, hang them either side of my bed, both Queen Titania and King Oberon, and maybe at the foot of my bed I'll put Lilith. She's a protector of abused women and children, actually. So I will hang them from it's a bit bonkers, but my bedroom's very artistic. So I'll hang them from the ceiling and they can fly around and over my bed. And if I want to like play with them and be childlike and playful, I'll just pull the string and bring them closer to me and look at them and then push them back up if I can find that thing. If they're still available, if they still sell them in the lighting shops or hardware shops. I have no idea. It used to be great because we used to have this one that we would bring down over our dining table, and so you'd have more light if you were working on a project on the table. It was great, and then you'd push it back up out of the way. So I hope they're still available. I don't know, what do you even call that? Retractable light cord, or don't even know how to ask for it in Bunnings or lighting shops. They're probably not cheap, probably expensive. Everything I want's on the other side of $200 last few years, even simple things. You want that, $200. You want something really, really good, it's $2,000. It's like, ah! But anyway, we're 28 minutes in and I still need to read the story to you. So let us continue on with the story. Yes, so what did I talk about? Remaking the tooth, remaking Lilith, finishing off Oberon, retractable cords. I must remember all these things. It's good that I put them into videos because later on I go back and go, oh yeah, I still need to do that. So sometimes projects that I start don't actually get manifested into things for sometimes years. Like some of that wool I have had for, you know, the fleeces I've had since 2021, 2022. So it's taken me, you know, 4 to 5 years to turn into wool and actually knit something with it. But, you know, I go over things and I look at things with great joy and delight. Like, here's another example. I know I'm coming to the story. Don't worry, people of Earth. But I had this hanging off my little tiny IKEA chest of drawers that I've made all arty-farty. And it had gone all tarnished. And I actually thought it was plastic, quite frankly. I'm not sure. It doesn't feel like metal. But Anyway, I didn't like that it was all dark, you know, the patina was all dark green, bronzy, manky looking colour. So what I did, this was yesterday, the night before yesterday, and finished it off yesterday, was I sanded back all the patina off, and it's a beautiful little parrot. I put the copper ring on him because he didn't have a ring. And then I, after I sanded him, I cleaned him up in acetone. You've got to use acetone before you use Protector Clear. It's got to be scrupulously clean. So I put acetone on him, and then I did a coat of Protector Clear, and I hung him up in my laundry. And then yesterday I went back. He's got to actually cure for 3 days, so I probably shouldn't be banging on him like I just did. And he probably should have 4 coats, but I'll just leave 2 on him. I think that'll be enough. So I did another coat. So this little thing is still from my mother's market jewellery from 25, 30 years ago, people of Earth. So I see that and I just chuckle that how I preserve. I didn't keep everything. There's a lot I've given away over the years, but how I carefully preserve the more interesting things, thinking, what am I ever going to do with that? Well, he'd look great hanging off Oberon, actually, since I like birds and fairies like birds, so I might hang him off Oberon. I was thinking about hanging him off one of my little cupboard doorknobs, but he's quite a large bird, so he can hang off Oberon. That's, I've decided. So, but I look at these little things when I walk around the house and I go, oh yeah, I've had that for 30 years. Oh, I've had that for 40 years. Oh, I've had that little tooth. My daughter's 40 now. So that was from when she was 4.5. So it's 35 years, 35 and a half years, something like that. You have to laugh. Time is starting to all merge and blend into one consciousness because you hold on to things for long enough, they manifest. Like even this little bookmark that I made recently, because the other one was horrible, manky, and I tried to preserve it, but it lost all its coating because it was just cheap metal that had been painted. So I thought, that's it. I'm not having any more crap in my house. I'll remake it out of real copper. And I did. And I made this a long time ago, quite some years ago now. But that little fish hanging off it, amethyst fish, that's also still from my mother's market stock from, you know, yeah, we're talking 30 to 35 years. So every time I look at it, I think, oh, I really preserved that and made that last. I put one other little fish, I had 2 of them, on a sterling silver ring I made. The only thing I'm upset about is his little tail there is a bit chipped, but I have the equipment that I use for opals to sand that down, polish that back up a bit. The trouble is with it, when it's got a fracture like that, it sometimes breaks apart. But you know what? Even if it does, could hang the bird off the end. That'd look nice too, wouldn't it? Hanging off. Even if the little amethyst fish does finally fracture and fall apart, I've cherished it for 35 years. Well, it came into my possession in 2008. So what's that? It's almost 20 years now. My mother's been dead 16. So you see, everything I am given or that comes to me, that is provided to me, gets cherished and upcycled and recycled until either I get sick of looking at the thing or eventually it does break or get lost. Or I reviewed a video here on YouTube, one of my YouTube videos, It was the one about spontaneous combustion. It was from the 13th of February 2025, which was, I must have made that video just before I injured my arm that afternoon, which is interesting. That scar's been itching mercilessly the last few days, so it tells me rain's coming. And but anyway, I reviewed that video and I watched it with great interest. And what was I going to say about that? Talking about upcycling and cherishing things. Forgotten now. But anyway, yes, I injured myself that day. Can't remember what I was going to say about reviewing that video. There was a reason why I mentioned it, and it's just gone out of my head. Not to worry, it's not of no great importance in the great scheme of things, people of Earth. If it's important, it'll pop back into my head. Right. Oh, that's right, that's why. In that video, I was still wearing the lovely nut spoon from Strasbourg that I turned into a ring that I lost sometime last year, I think it was. So I'm going to buy another one. It's about $160 to $200 because I've got to order it from people that have them in America. And you've got to pay American dollars and you've got to pay postage. So it ends up being a lot more expensive. Plus I'll have the work because I decorated that ring up. I didn't just bend the spoon. I actually did little extra bits and pieces to it. But I saw that ring in that video and I was like, I loved that ring. I'm going to buy another spoon and make it again. But in honour of that, today I'm wearing my antique Versailles spoon, which is lovely and I love it, but I just loved that other one because I put all the extra work into it. Things that you put extra effort into artistically, they just become infinitely more precious. Not necessarily valuable, but you know, they sort of have your energy and your bits of your soul and your intent goes into it. I was hoping I might find that ring somewhere in the garden, but I suspect I've lost it out somewhere in the neighbourhood, and if I have, someone's picked it up and kept it, as people do, you know, or it's gone forever. I was hoping it might turn up. I've asked St. Anthony, the Catholic saint of lost objects, if he could get it back to me, but it hasn't happened. So I'll have to buy another one and put in the work again. Put in the bloody work. Yes. And again, nearly $200 worth. And by the time I put all the work into it, that ring was worth about $500. But anyway, maybe not 500, but I did put a lot of work into it. I lost it one time when I got into a fight at the Brooklyn Standard with these awful, foul females that were harassing me, and I asked them to stop harassing me. Actually, they wouldn't stop, so I did lose my temper that night. There's a video about that. But anyway, I lost my ring in the club that night fighting those bloody women, but I got it back. So I don't know how it came about that I lost it this time. But all is not lost. I can just buy another one and form it into a ring and do the work, and it'll still have this whimsical reminders of my heydays when I was wearing the original one. So there is that. Right, we're 39 minutes in, so I won't start the story because it's a very long chapter and I have to break it into 2 chapters anyway. So I'll cut off here, people of Earth, and I'll come back in a few moments with the actual reading of the story. Thank you for watching and listening and coexisting with me here on planet Earth, and I hope my little creative emanations and manifestations are interesting and fill you with just as much as delight as they do me. And thank you for being here with and for me at Titania's Realm and on my YouTube channel. And if you do enjoy some of my more whimsical videos, some of them can be a bit depressed and dark, I admit I do have I have been struggling in recent months. But if you do get some kind of grounding or understanding or new knowledge out of it, please like and subscribe and encourage me to carry on with my storytelling. And bye for now from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm.